I'm Hannah, and today we're going to talk about a theory that pretty much no one can agree on. It's called social presence theory. So social presence is the feeling of connection you get when you talk with someone using technology. It's the idea that the person you're talking to is a real live person. For example, do you feel like it's easier to talk to your friends over FaceTime rather than text because it feels a little bit more personal? Or maybe do a group project over Zoom rather than a few emails because it's much easier to collaborate and share ideas that way. Well, that's social presence in a nutshell. It's the idea that the person you are talking to through your screen is a real person and not just a robot. While this seems like a pretty simple idea, it's actually hugely debated among scholars. They can't seem to agree on what defines social presence and what influences it. So let's start by going through a few theories as to what is social presence. In 1976, Short, Williams and Christie were the first to conceptualize social presence. They defined it as the degree of salience between communicators using a communication medium. They claim that social presence was primarily a quality of the medium used to communicate that influences the way people interact. They also suggest that some mediums have a higher degree of social presence, such as video, and others have a lower, such as audio. Since this theory was conceptualized, pretty much every single researcher has disagreed on it and come up with their own theory. So let's talk about two of the main ones that came out of all this discourse. The first is media richness theory, and if you've ever studied a communications unit, you've probably heard of this. This theory suggests that it's the medium's capacity for feedback, social cues, personalization, and language variety that influences interaction. It's just that certain media is richer than others in its ability to facilitate quality communication. Media that is more rich, such as face-to-face, allows for social cues, whereas the least rich media, such as audio or text-based, filters all of these out. The other theory focuses more on the human aspect of communication. It's called social information processing theory. This theory suggests that given enough time, people will be able to adapt to their environment and create the same quality of interactions that face-to-face communication would, regardless of the technology that's used. Now, the problem with these theories is that they were very one-sided. One blames the tech and the other puts the responsibility on us to create social presence. But since these theories were conceptualized, technology has evolved and so has its users. So new theories suggest that it's not one or the other, it's actually a combination of both that contribute to social presence. Shen and Khalifa posit that variations in both media form and media content have been shown to influence various dimensions of presence, and that the interaction is bound by the affordances of the technology. So basically, how we use technology is just as important as what technology we use when it comes to communication. Take Zoom, for example. You're going to have a much deeper, more collaborative discussion if everyone has their cameras on and is actively talking rather than just looking at a black screen. Take it from me. I was a student during the pandemic and all the lockdowns, and being actually able to see my classmates made it a lot better and made me feel like I was actually in a classroom and not in my room in my pajamas. Social presence theory is dynamic and complex, and I don't think scholars are ever going to fully agree on what it is and what influences it. But what we can take away from this is that it's not just what technology we use. We need to take advantage of all of the things that it offers us. So next time you're in your class, turn your cameras on and see what kind of difference it makes.